few cancellations, but I'm sure you will be a good audience nonetheless. So I would first of all like to introduce to you Orassy, for those of you who it's the first time that you're here. We like to bring different speakers and guests to Orassy because we're always looking at expanding and growing and looking at other ways of treating people or other methods that are out there. So we met Daniel Kovacsik some years ago in St. Petersburg. We were very interested in what he was sharing with people, and we spoke about it for a while, how we could potentially bring that here to London and share that with people, because we found that what he was offering, his great-grandfather actually had created this method, which he'll tell you more about, would be something potentially very beneficial for people here in the UK. So I would like to formally introduce Daniel. I'm not going to say too much more. I might say some words at the end afterwards. But I'd like to introduce Daniel and just maybe say a big thank you for coming here today.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Just a second.
Also, if you do have your phones on, if you don't mind putting them on silent now.
So, thank you everybody for coming here. Once again, my name is Daniel Kovacsik. I work for the AEMK. This is a non-profit organization from Brazil, and we do work spreading the knowledge of the Kovacsik method. Not only spreading the knowledge, but making possible people everywhere to get access to this therapy. We do work in a network of volunteers. This therapy is for free, and we work with volunteers offering this therapy. So far, the AMK has 6 years now of working, and in this period we were able to get to almost 70 places of attendance around the world. Most of them are in Brazil, but we also have in Bolivia, Chile, US, here UK, and Istanbul in Turkey also. And the idea is to take this therapy to every single person who needs it. Before talking about the Kovacsik itself, I want to talk a little bit about cancer. Why it's important to have a different approach of the disease. Why to talk about a natural therapy if there is the allopathic treatment? Why do we need to look for different ways of treating this disease? So I want to show you some information that we don't often see on the news, on the mainstream communication. Do you know, in the world, there's, in 2012, according to WHO, the World Health Organization, there was 14.1 million new diagnoses of cancer. And do you know how many people, unfortunately, pass away in the same year? Do you have any idea? Unfortunately, 8.2 million. It's almost 60% of those people. This 8.2 million happens in 3 years. Within 3 years of the diagnosis, these people will die. But this is the number for 2012. You may say, okay, this is for the world. Okay, there's 30 world countries who doesn't have resources, and most of people are dying there. Yes, most of people there dying. Much more people. But let's take a look for Netherlands, for example. There's a very good health system. 2013, 102,000 cases. And unfortunately, 42,000 died. It's more than 40%, so it's not that far. This is a problem that's happening in the whole world. And why I'm showing this information? Because it's very important, just like Nico said before, to have a different approach, to start to look in different way for this disease. I'm not telling to drop out the allopathic treatment, but we need also to start looking for different things. Other thing that bothers me a lot about this information, and happens to a lot of people, probably it happened to some of you, when I tell someone about the Kovacsik. I don't know, a friend or a friend of a friend has cancer, I'm gonna tell him, oh, you have cancer, oh, take a look to this therapy, it's really nice, it's important. You know what they used to answer me? Oh no, that's okay. I had a breast cancer, but I discovered very fast and the doctor took it out. I'm doing some chemo, you'll be cured, no problem at all. So I don't need anything different. In what's bothering me, that I know what's gonna happen. Yes, in this first moment, okay, it works, but more or less after up to 6 months, up to 2 years, it usually comes back. And when it comes back, that confidence the physician had before changes. Because it starts to go to the lung, to the brain, start to spread, and that's the problem. Only in this moment, of course, not always, but in this moment they start to look for different things, for different treatments. But how is this person's organism in this moment? What's the size of the damage already caused? Is it possible to recover? So the point is, the earlier we begin doing different therapies, the best results we can achieve. So this is the point, to awake people to pay attention to what's really going on, so they can have better chance of success. Okay, let's go for the Kovacsik itself. This is Mr. Stefan Kovacsik. He was the scientist who developed the whole therapy, the whole Kovacsik methods. And he began his work in 1948. I said the AMK has only 6 years, but the family Kovacsik, the Kovacsik family, works helping people with cancer for 55 years now of attendance, public attendance. In only 6 years ago, we created this non-profit organization to help organize all the information to spread in the best way possible. What do we want to achieve? What do we aim with the Kovacsik methods? We want to happen this, to recover the harmony of the body, so the organism itself starts to regenerate and recovering. Let's go from sickness to health, okay? And how it happens? We need to understand, and this is the most important thing in the Kovacsik, is how we get sick. I believe so far that every way of thinking cancer, it's several different ways you can get sick. But the Kovacsik, there's only one way. It's a very specific way to get sick. You get sick with cancer when you get exposed to a harmful vibration that comes from underground. What is this harmful vibration? Let's take this draw for example. There's the house, you have the well to get the water in the underground, and you have the cesspool, the waste from the house, okay? It's something normal. But sometimes the cesspool reaches the water and contaminated it, just like this. When the cesspool, the waste gets to the water, contaminates the whole water. And this contamination is this vibration I'm telling you, this harmful vibration. And when there is this contamination, it starts to have this vibration. And someone who is exposed, is exactly above it, gets sick. Okay? It's important to understand that the sewer system also has the same effect, because it's water with feces. It's simple like that. And this is one of the problems we have. It's too simple. So when I'm telling someone, oh, this causes cancer, people look at me, really? Are you kidding? Because it's too complicated. Cancer is a very complicated disease, very complex. And when you try to treat this in a simple way, people get shocked. But okay, when someone comes for the therapy, I say to them, you don't need to believe me. Don't need to believe in what I'm telling you. What you need to do is to understand, so you can do the therapy properly and get the possible results. So this vibration goes only on vertical. It can go several floors of a building. And to get sick, what happens if I stay here, I don't know, during the lecture, 1 hour sitting in this chair, and under this chair there is this harmful vibration? Do I get sick? No. You need to be a prolonged exposure. What is this? You need to be several hours, most days of the week during 2 years. So if you begin the exposition here, you take 2 years exposing routine to this vibration to get the first expression of the disease, the tumor, the wound, or wherever it comes. Usually when you are in the bed, so you go to the bed, you stay there for 8 hours, put regarding to the floor. You go to the work, you have your chair, you sit there, I don't know, 6, 8 hours every single day. The sofa, same thing, you get home, you watch a news, you watch a movie, you stay there like 2, 3 hours. And balcony, probably, balcony is not very popular here in London, but it's a possibility to find, it's possible, okay? And the question is, most of the places I go, when I start to talk, people say, okay, but there is a point. There's 5 people living in my house. Why I am the only one who gets sick if the issue is in the environment? Simple, you need to understand. Remember, I told you it goes only on vertical, so you need to be exactly above it. If you are talking about a sewer system, you know what's the size? It's like this size. So you need to be exactly above. Let's imagine that this red line is the underground water course. In this house, who would be exposed to this vibration? Only the person who sleeps in this side of the bed. Mm-hmm. Not this side, not this bed, not this bed. And this is a news for you. You're just hearing this for the first time. And obvious, you never ask someone about this. What I mean, if I'm telling you it's 2 years of exposure, there's a way to understand where I got sick. How? I need to go back 2 years after my diagnosis. So if I do have a diagnosis today, that's March 2015, I know I'm exposed since March 2013. In, I don't know, 80% of the situations, the person changes the place they use. What I mean, they move to another house, start to get exposed. Move to another office, start to get exposed. A smaller change, I move from this room here and start to sleep in this room here. Or even a smaller change, I stop sleeping this side of the bed, start to sleep in this side of the bed. And I do ask this for but for every person who does the therapy. And so far, I believe I have seen something around 1,000 people with cancer. Myself, my family has seen much more. And just one simple example that happens a lot. Imagine a couple who lives here, and then the husband has cancer, goes through the allopathic treatment, do everything he can, and unfortunately die. What does the wife do after the husband dies? They usually do. Starts to sleep on his side of the bed because they start to miss him. And 2 years later, get sick. We see this happen a lot. I just talked to a friend 3 months ago. I met this person and I was talking to her. Oh, my father died of cancer and my mother has cancer now. Yeah. And I did the question. Okay, after how many years your father died before your mother got cancer? Oh, 2 years. Oh, 2 years, okay. Perhaps she started to sleep on his side of the bed after he died, and she was like, oh, how do you know it? How do you know it? Because it's always the same way. So after this moment, if you see someone with cancer, you can try to make these questions. And you find, in the opposite, when the lady goes through cancer and dies, what the husband does? He usually gets another wife and puts in that side of the bed. Yeah, it's true. And of course, cancer after 2 years. We see this a lots and lots of. I can spend the whole night telling cases, but this is not the point. This other situation, who would be exposed in this house? The one who sits on this very spot here on the sofa. Not who sits here and not who sits here, not even the balcony, but this very spot, okay? Let's move on. Another important thing for us and makes people really confused. When we get to this point, people say, oh no, you're kidding me, this is not true. For us, the tumor, the wound, or the dysfunction, it's not cancer. What's cancer for us? Cancer, it's an agent who stays around the heart and the spleen area, just like this. He stays here and here. And what happened? When you begin the period of exposure, these 2 years before the diagnosis, you emerge this agent and you stay still during 1 year. Quiet. You wouldn't feel anything. But when you got to 1 year, you start to feel some dysfunctions. And it's this moment when the person goes for the doctor for the first time. Why? Because the person starts to feel weak in his position, starts to have trouble sleeping, starts to wake up the next day more tired than he went to sleep, pain throughout the body. This is some dysfunctions the person starts to feel and then goes to a doctor. Goes to the doctor makes all the examinations and say, you don't have anything. Yes, he doesn't have anything. But for us does, is the agent. But the time is passing, it's getting stronger and stronger. These dysfunctions go back to the doctor often until you get to 2 years. What happened here when you get to 2 years of exposure? The agent gets strong enough and then you express itself in the weakest part of the body. And then it's possible for the physician to do a diagnosis. Why? Because the tumor shows up. And since for the allopathic, the tumor is the cancer, only when it comes up that's possible to make a diagnosis. The question is, if the tumor, or if the agent is really the cancer, why do I have breast cancer, brain cancer, wound? Why? Because what's going to happen? When it is strong enough, it will emerge in the weakest spot of the body. It's the part of the body who you have less resistance. Okay? So if you pick up a smoker, for example, what is the weakest part of the smoker's body? What's the weakest part of the organism? The lungs. It's all the respiratory system, mainly the lungs. So when the agent is strong enough, there it will find the less resistance. So there you have the first expression of the disease. This is basically how it works. So if you get an old man, for example, what's the weakest part? It's the prostate. There's the hormonal change and makes fragile. If you pick up ladies, it's mainly the breast and the reproduction system. If you go for children and so on, smokers, drinkers, and go on, it's always the weakest spot. okay? The therapy, how does work the therapy? We use these 3 devices during the whole therapy. This first one is the U, and this one is the accelerator. We use both of them to capture a natural energy from the environment and helps to eliminate the vitality of the agent and recovering the body. This one, the third one, is the insulator. This is the most important part of the therapy. Why? We use this insulator to block the harmful vibration that comes from the underground. Because if you do eliminate the vitality of the agent, but you go back to the exposition, the process will start again. Okay? The therapy lasts for 1 year. During this 1 year, there will be 14 sessions. What's a session? We will take the U, place on the shoulder, just like this, in contact with the skin. And the accelerator we hold in the hand, like this. It stays 20 minutes. 20 minutes is 1 session, okay? In the first moment, you'll be weekly sessions. So you're gonna be today, the first, next Friday, the second, and the other Friday, the third one. After this, there will be 1 session per month until completed this 1 year to check if the therapy is following the right way. And like I said, the most important is the insulator. And where should I use it? In every place you stay in routine. What's the main places? Just like I said before, the bed, workplace, doesn't matter if you are standing or sitting down, the sofa, in the balcony. Every single person, there's a different routine. So we need to understand, in my routine, where is the places I stay too long. I mean, 1-2 hours every day, okay? And there you must use the insulator. Otherwise, the therapy won't work. There is no results in this therapy if you do not use the insulator properly. And the problem, this is the biggest problem we have in therapy. No problem, but difficult. Why? Because insulator is a piece of metal this size, 3 by 3 centimeters. And when the person sees the insulator, they say, this piece of metal is going to change anything in my life. They don't believe it, and so they don't use it. So they come for...
What kind of metal is it?
Excuse me?
What kind of metal is it?
It's a alloy, it's a combination. There's different metals in there. The point is, this therapy is free, so you're not paying to do this. When you're receiving this natural energy, you're not feeling anything. So I'm not seeing, I'm not paying, I'm not feeling. It doesn't exist for the people. So they take it for granted always, most of the time. Only when they start to feel some results, they start, oh, this really works. But to see some results, you must do it correctly. So people in the first moment has this difficulty. And what happens when I place the U on my shoulder and the accelerator in my hands? Mr. Steven used to say that in the environment, there is this energy. It's a natural and health energy. He used to call cosmic energy. When I place these metals here, they will capture this natural energy. They will go within my body and takes out the vitality of the agent, allowing my body to start working properly again. And when my body is working properly, it starts to take care of all the damage the disease already caused. So when someone starts the therapy, we need to understand what is the damage the disease already caused and which organ was damaged, to understand if my own body can regenerate itself. Let's give you an example to make it easier. Let's imagine my cancer came like a wound on the skin. What's the wound? It's an organ that has a very good regeneration, right? If I cut, it wouldn't regenerate fast and well. Most of the times you don't even see this car. So we have a very good expectation when talk about my skin cancer. But in the other hand, if we do have a tumor in the pancreas, what's the pancreas? It's a very vital organ, very important. It has a different possibility for regeneration. There's a limit it can regenerate. And also there's a different time for this regeneration to happen. So we need to understand this and see how different is the possibilities, okay? But the main point is to understand that the Kovacsik doesn't act direct on the tumor or in the case the cancer expression. Why do I mean? Doesn't matter if you have a leukemia, sarcoma, lymphoma, carcinoma, or one of these more than 100 diseases that is considered cancer for allopathic. For us, the Kovacsik, you always act here in the agent, and once it's gone, the body, you take care of this. The only difference for us here is what's gonna heal fast or not. Of course, if it's possible, we do not promise any results. Depends very much on the person's body, okay? Okay, let's go for the results, because this is what people want to know. Okay, I like the theory, I believe, I do not believe, but what can I expect when I do the therapy? What's the benefits, the really benefits? We divide it in two. A short term, we will look for quality of life. Now in this first moment, how big is your tumor, if it's decreasing or not. I'm interested to see you having pain reduction, your sleeping getting better, you start to eat better, and you start to have a better physical disposition. This is what I'm looking for in this first moment. What I mean by pain reduction. If you are taking painkillers every 4 hours, I expect in a few days, 1 week, maybe you'll be taking each 8 hours, 12 hours. The next week, maybe 1 a day. Sleep quality. It's not to sleep 15 hours every night. It's to sleep the 7 hours and a half I slept my whole life, and the next day wake up new, refresh. Okay? If I may wake up 10 times during the night, I expect to start to wake up 7, the next week 3. What's happening? Once you take out the vitality of the agent, the body starts to find the balance again, and it takes time. If it's a children recover much faster than an adult. They recover much faster than an old person. You need always to take care of this. And of course, if the person has it's in really bad shape, the difference you're gonna see will be bigger. Okay? And this might happen between the first session and 1.5 months of therapy. Actually, when it's completed 1.5 months of therapy, we expect to see the person really different. And there comes a second difficulty. Why is it difficult when the person gets better? It's confusing, right? Not very confusing. Why? Because when the person gets better, they start to abuse. What I mean by abuse? The person was not walking, was just the bed, chair, bed, the whole day. Then when they start to feel a little bit stronger, they want to start to do everything they used to do before. Because what happens, the person has the diagnosis, then goes for a surgery, and then goes for chemotherapy. The energy is going low, and the person cannot do everything the person likes to do. And that makes the person sad and all the situation. But when they start to feel a little bit better, and better, they want to recover, or they want to do everything again like it was before. For many reasons, even to prove to themselves that they are healed, the disease is gone. Of course, we don't want nobody to feel sick. We want everybody to feel better. But you need to understand that this is a process. And you need to respect this process. So the body can really get the strength it needs to get really good again. So for this, it takes 6 months, 1 year to get really good. So after this period, you can do whatever you want. And don't feel afraid that you're gonna lose energy. The second change, sorry. Okay, well, for the patient, it's good to feel better, but he wants to see the paper. That's what he really wants to see. If he is not sleeping, he's sleeping. If he was under a lot of pain, he's not in pain, okay, that's good, but to be sure, I want to read. The tumor's gone, the results are better, it's decreasing, or I don't know. They want to see in the paper that they are better. They don't believe in what they are feeling. The human being lost the contact with themselves. Don't look for ourselves, we look for the paper. What the paper says, paper says good, oh yeah, so I'm good. That's what happened. Actually, I can understand, of course. And to see different in the examinations, we took around 3 up to 6 months to see some change. Of course, depend pretty much on the organ, so the kind of the disease. If it's a wound heals faster than a tumor has to reduce. So there's a few, it's a little bit different. For example, when we are treating people with prostate cancer, we usually know that in 1 month the tumor mark follows a lot. The PSA, that is the tumor marker they use for prostate. Under 4, it's indicative of normality. 4 or above, it's indicative of malignancy. So sometimes people come with 10. After a month, it's very often to see it in 7. It's still higher than 4, but it's already decreasing. And that's what we want to see. When I say in 3-6 months we see different, it's not that you're gonna be cured, it's gone. It might happen, but we expect to see different for better, a significant change for better, okay? Let's give you some examples. This is a lady, she has 69 years old, and she has a tumor in the rectum. Rectum? Yes, and the tumor has 7.5 centimeters, okay? She went under chemotherapy, couldn't do surgery, so went to chemo. She did 2 sessions, and in the second session, she felt so bad. She was terrible. If I'm not mistaken, she had a heart attack. It was a very strong side effect. And of course, she's 69 years old and strong medicine, so she had this strong side effect. And she decided to not go on with this treatment. Okay? It's very important to make it clear that we never ask people to drop the allopathic treatment. Okay? It's always the person's choice. They must understand what's better for themselves. We never ask anyhow to do this, okay? So she dropped it and started to look for different things and found the Kovacsik, started to do it. After 4 months doing the Kovacsik, the new exams were showing that the tumor was already 4.8 centimeters, reduced 1/3 of the size. What happens here? Why this tumor decreased this 1/3 in 4 months? Let's see, imagine a tree. If you cut the tree, it will fall. And when you look to the tree, it looks like pretty much the same, right? But what happens to this tree 1 month later? If you look to her, how it looks like? dry, right? It's dead, it's dry. Why it's dry? Because it doesn't have the roots in the underground getting what the tree needs to develop. So it dries. The same principle applies for the Kovacsik. Once you take out the vitality of the agent, once you are not exposed to the harmful vibration from the underground, the tumor or the expression doesn't have what needs to develop. So we expect from the Kovacsik on, this expression, you stop the size it is and slowly start to reduce. And the time for reducing depends pretty much on everything I told you before. I don't have much time, so I'm gonna skip a few examples. I'm gonna show.
Started it, right? You're okay.
I show this situation is very expressive one. This is a male. He has 62 years old. He starts to feel some dysfunctions in the body. It's not working very well, not feeling very good. He went to the doctor. The doctor understood he had some trouble in the liver. Went to do some examinations, and the doctor found out, made a tumor mark. It's called alpha fat protein. It's a tumor mark for liver, to understand how your liver is working, okay? And when the doctor did it in January, it was 52,000, the number. What does it mean? I'm gonna give you a clue. If you look here, the reference, if the liver is working normal, should be up to 10. It was 52,000. Liver dysfunction up to 500. Above 500, it's indicative of cancer. 500, it's 52,000. The doctors thought what? It must be wrong. And asked the patient to come back 1 month later to do another one. So he did, and it was already 114,000. So it was not a mistake. When the doctor saw this exam, he said to the patient, unfortunately, I do have nothing to do for you. The disease is already too spread, and the organ is too damaged. There's nothing to do, and send him home. And we see this happen a lot, okay? And what happens? What happens to a patient when it comes to this moment? The doctor comes to them and say, I have nothing to do for you. You go home. He starts to look for everything he can. He starts to look for every possible treatment he ever heard in life. And we go back to the point in the beginning of the lecture I was talking to you. As soon as you know this disease, you need to look for different things. You don't need to wait until you get to this point. But even the doctor is saying that he can do nothing. If the doctor is saying, I can do nothing for you, what we can expect in someplace else? But anyway, he looked and found the Kovacsik, started to do the Kovacsik. After 6 months doing the Kovacsik, he did a new examination, and the result was less than 5. From 114,000 to less than 5 in 6 months of Kovacsik. In December, 9 months later, after the Kovacsik, it was less than 3. It's an important detail. He had an expectation of 6 months of living. In January, in February, in December, it was less than 3. It was completely normal. So how it was possible? How was possible to reverse such damage in the organ? For a simple thing, what's the main characteristic of the liver? The most expressive is the regeneration. The liver has amazing regenerations, the organ that regenerates better in the organism. So that's why it was possible to do this. Once we took out the vitality and the person was not exposed, the body started to work properly again, and the liver was able to get this regeneration. Okay? If it was the same thing, but in the pancreas, for example, the result would be very differently. I don't know what would happen, but would be really different. Okay. This situation is a female, and she had 22 years old at the moment. She found out a tumor in the pelvis region with 4.5 per 14.7 per 5.7 centimeters. So it's something like this in the pelvis. This person, this girl, she was doing the treatment, allopathic treatment, in the public service in Brazil. And I don't know how it's here, but in Brazil it means long, very long lines. What I mean? To get a consult, you wait around three months. And then the consult, the doctor asks for examination. It took 3 months to do it, a few months. When you get the results, another few months to go back to the doctor. And then a few more months to start something. It's almost 1 year to begin to do something. When she got the results, a friend of her told her, oh, I did this, I got cured, so I recommended you to do. So she started to do it. So doing the Kovacsik, waiting in the line for any procedure. After, it was November, beginning of November, on late January, when she did a new exam, it was completely gone. Disappeared completely.
How old was she?
22 years old. So what's the difference between why a tumor of this size, like double the size of the first case I told you, disappear, and the first case only reduced 1/3? Mainly because of the age. 22 years, the body is working very fast and was able to take out this expression. And also the location. Here was in the pelvis area. Over there was in the rectum. So it's in constant working. So this is basically the difference between. And this is not an isolated situation. That happens often, okay? Just like this situation here, the same thing. She was a female, she had 22 years old when she began. Actually, in 2008, she had a breast cancer with metastasis in the axillary metastasis. She did a mastectomy, a chemo, did radio, and started to take tamoxifen, that's a drug, for 5 years. These 5 years, after finishing the treatment, I mean the chemo and the radio, she's not cured. It's not considered cured. She's considered in remission. That means that there's no signs of the disease. And after these 5 years, under doctors following the situation, after this period they can say it's cured. But in the situation, unfortunately, when finished these 5 years, came a metastasis on abdomen, pelvis, and lung. Okay, they removed the pelvis. The vulva. Sorry, they removed the vulva completely, and did the biopsy, find out there was cancer, and the lungs they didn't touch it, and they found out that in the pelvis there was a tumor of 5.7 centimeters, big one. The same thing. The doctor didn't want to do anything. He was like waiting to see what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this chemo. 3 months after, it was gone. Even before starting the chemotherapy. The same thing that happened in this situation before, okay? Here I'm showing the situations people didn't do chemo or radio, or they did a little bit. Why? Because here I want to show the efficiency of the Kovacsik. The Kovacsik doesn't need anything else. However, most of the people do the both at the same time. 90% of the people do the allopathic and the Kovacsik at the same time, okay? But to show how it works really, we take these situations. In this case, they don't do anything else. And we come back for the dog from the first picture, in the beginning of the presentation. The therapy works very well in animals also. It's exactly the same way they get sick, in the same way we treat them, okay? Actually, I was even talking to Anika before, treating animals, treating children are much better, much easier. They recover much faster. Adults, unfortunately, they create much more complications than they already have. Cancer is very complicated. It's complex. Lots of things going on at the same time, but they create more complications. They make things harder. And this makes the therapy goes having ups and downs, while the children doesn't care for anything. They just want to...
Sorry to interrupt you. Is that because they don't understand what's going on?
Yeah, they just want to be good, to play. I want to play soccer, so I need to be faster. Adults, no. Adults, sometimes they want to get sick. Stay in the sickness for a while. Human beings are complicated, very complicated. When you deal with them, you start to understand. Actually, you start to not understand anything, because we always go for the reason. Oh, he's sick, he wants to get better. But when you go in practical ways, we see it's not exactly like this. It's a little bit different, but anyway, it's a different thing. Okay, we have two places specific for animals in Brazil. They only treat animals. Dogs, cats, we even treated horse and any kind of animals, okay? Okay, he had this big tumor, as you can see here. Even the eye hole, it's up here. It was causing pressure to the brain, to everything in the head. He was not eating, he was not playing, he was just laying down in the corner, waiting to die, unfortunately. He started to do the therapy, and 10 days later, he started to leak this mix of blood and pus by the eye hole. Started to leak, and the owner took this picture because he was so worried. He was saying, oh my God, my dog is gonna die now. I shouldn't do this therapy. What did I do? It was a mistake, and he was worried. Anyone knows what's happening here? Any guess? It's happening a cleaning process. What the body does when there is a strange body inside? Try to take out, right? But what happens when you have cancer? When you have cancer, if the agent is active, it forbids your body to work properly. So healing process, immunity, and every other systems of your body is not working how it should work. So that's why the disease develops this way. But once you take out the vitality, the body starts to work proper and starts to put out what shouldn't be inside. And that's exactly what's happening here. It's a cleaning process. And after 14 days of therapy, he was like this. Can you see the difference? The huge difference. An important detail. And when there was a tumor, have you touched a tumor before? It's like this. It's really hard. And when he was here, you can see there's something here, but it was liquid, changed, okay? and of course, he went back to eat. He started playing again. He started to have was starting to have a normal life. It's a process, like I said. Okay, you took 2 years to get sick, so you cannot expect to get healed in one day. But this is what people want. Of course, some people are facing this situation for months, for years. All they want to do is to finish this overnight.
Can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
With this case, would you say, did the owners move house, or did he start playing in another area? Or
No. He started to use the insulator like...
I mean, why would he have got cancer? Was it because they...
Yes. No, depends pretty much. Sometimes move to another house. I don't recall his situation. But sometimes they start to sleep in some different place. The owner, you're going to start to sleep in the laundry place. Okay, that's what happens. I don't know how long it takes for the animals get sick. For human beings, it's 2 years. For animals, should be less time, a short time, period of time to get sick. Okay, of course, 14 days are very fast results. We are not expecting to see something like this. Sometimes it happens. Like this, I skipped this one, but I'm gonna tell. This one was a skin cancer. She discovered in August 2025, the 25. Her mother, if I'm not mistaken, did the therapy, got cured. So what she did, she started to do the Kovacsik in the very same day. On September 21, they could not find the disease anymore because it was a wound. And it was very fast. Remember the skin, like I said, is very fast. This can happen, but you see the difference. 14 days, 1 month, 4 months, and the results are different. So you cannot make any promise. Depends pretty much on the person's organism. And also, if the person is following the therapy properly, I mean, using the insulator correctly, okay? And the not the most important, but a very important change is the emotional change. This is a draw made by a patient. When you see a draw, you first imagine a children, right? But it was an old sir with 72 years old. He was so happy with the process he was going through, he decided to draw his feelings. He picked up a pen and started to draw in the paper. And here is before Kovacsik, here is after the Kovacsik. I'm going to translate it. This is in Portuguese. People with cancer. This is how he was seeing his situation that he was facing. Diagnose, some life to live, interrogation point. That's all what physicians are talking to him. They are not talking about curing. They are talking, you see, you're going to live some time, you're going to make it better. And in the end of the road, and he starts to ask, why me? I'm a good person, I eat well, I have health approach, I live well my life, why I'm sick? And in the end of the hallway, the end. That's how he was seeing the disease, the possibilities he has. After starting, and here, only God. The only thing he would believe in this moment was God. Okay. In the second moment, after the Kovacsik, it's not just about how long I'm gonna live. He was starting to see that he can go beyond. You see, the arms are open. He's already waiting for something for the future. It's not the end anymore. There's some hope. In the end of the hallway, you see this? This is right in there, a window of hope.
And survival on that other.
Yeah, surviving. Treatments and Kovacsik therapy, what we're feeling. And we're not talking about cure here. He's not cured. But in this moment, it's actually 1 month of therapy. Like I said before, the quality of life when he was getting better, the quality of life better, he was already start to hope something for the future, because until so, he had already gave up. Everybody had gave up on him, even the doctors. But now he starts to feel this. And what comes with this? The person changes his approaching about life. He starts to see different life in the process he is going through. He starts to see this like a learning process that's going to make him a better person. The relationship with the family changes, because this is not disease of the person, it's the family. The family gets sick. It's not one week, 2 weeks of disease. It's months, it's years. The relationship between family and friends start to change, because there's a moment, there's a point, everybody's tired. Nobody can take it anymore. The children, the sons start to fight. You take the daddy to the doctor today, I cannot take it, I take it last week, and blah. All the situations. And when the patient starts to get better, feeling better, everybody starts to get better, everybody recovers the hope. So the harmony comes back to the family, and everybody together start to face this in a better way. And this is what see, this is what happened, and this is a moment very important for us, the volunteers. Why? Because we see the difference we are making. And when the person starts to feel better, starts to feel cured, and then he looks back, he see, whoa, that people, that strange people to me, treat me, make me a better person, and cured me for free. So it's free not because it's not important. It's free because they want to show you something. What? Show that we still can love each other. We still can bring good things to people and not expect nothing in return. So that closes the therapy in a much better way. So not hope only for my life, I mean, is the hope for the mankind to change. Okay, we do have a program. It's called MK for Everyone, who was developed to take this therapy to new places. It's what we're doing here in London. In December we start to do here what we do need to begin a new place of care of the Kovacsik. We need at least 10 or more people with a diagnosis of cancer to be treated. We need 2 or more volunteers that wants to help, to learn and help those people. So when you get this, AMK, you send someone to this place who you start to treat these people, and through this treatment, the volunteers start to learn. Because the Kovacsik, as you could see, it's easy. There's no mystery. It's 2 pieces of metals from time to time, and the insulator in the routine. But people make it very difficult. Cancer is very complex. There's too many situations that can happen. So this person from the AMK, you come here to treat and guide people through this process. So by experience, they will learn how to do it. The AMK, unfortunately, cannot cover the expenses. We are a non-profit organization. We do not charge for the therapy, so we don't have money. So we kindly ask people who are gonna set the group to share these costs of the ticket, so we can make it happen. So we have 10 people share among 10. We have 20 people share among 20. So it's not, and only when someone from AMK goes to the place to do the training for the people. Okay. And to finish, a very important thing. This couple here is Mr. Steven and his wife Maria, and I want to finish this talking about the name of our organization. The first thing, why association? Why don't we not create a foundation or a company or something else? We choose association because of its nature. Association, it's a group of people, regular, ordinary people who comes together for something that they care. So you have association for the neighborhood, association for, I don't know, many things. And that's why how the Kovacsik survived those 55 years. It's ordinary people who came together because they believe in this. And they make it to get here. So couldn't be different. It should be association because we are all together. It's not someone owns this. Everybody's together to help people. And Stephen and Maria Kovacsik is not just after them. Of course, it's after them, but goes deeper. Stephen, for us in the organization name, represents the science of the Kovacsik. And Maria represents the love, because we strongly believe the science without love cannot bring real good things for humankind. Science without love is the science we have today, that takes good things only for a few people. And that's why we gave this name. So represents very much how we think and how we work. And we hope to bring this, not the knowledge about the Kovacsik, but also the way we work for people, so they can understand and they can make some difference in the world. So, just to finish, this is not this number. Do you have an idea what it means? This is not to make us sad. This number is to wake us from the situation today that we ignore, mostly because we don't know, we're not aware of this. This number represents the number of people who died in the world during my lecture because of cancer. 1,610 people died in the last hour in the world because of cancer. So once again, it's time for us to stop and think again the disease. We must go for a different approach to have different results, to change this situation for something much better. Okay? Thank you very much. I hope everybody have enjoyed the presentation, and I hope I could bring something good for you. Okay? You're welcome.